I am indeed so happy to be here. First and foremost, I give praise to Almighty God. I thank God for this day and all the days that have been given to us. It was not us who woke ourselves up this morning. Whatever we call God, because we live in a world now, we respect all religions that believe in God, and some say Yahweh, some say Oludumare, some say Jesus the Christ, some say Yeshua, some say Jehovah, some say Allah, some say Ra. But whatever you call that one and divine and supreme source, we know that it is greater than each and every one of us, but it also resides in us. I want to thank ladies who invite me, and then I want to forgive them for doing so. I don't want you all to hold it to them, but they don't know what I'm going to say, because most of the time, a lot of times, I don't know what I'm going to say myself. I asked the Creator and I asked the ancestors to give me the words, and I've been studying and reading, and I sleep in my library. My bedroom is surrounded by books and libraries, and sometimes I go to sleep and I visit all over the place. I'm talked to by all kinds of folks. Y'all don't know nothing about that, right? I think I'm in the hall of the light. And when I came in, I said, well, they invite me in. What can I say to them? They already have the wisdom. They already have the knowledge. They have the history and the mysteries. And the key to unlock them from the east, bringing it to the west. You know who you are. And my brother, I got to do away with half of my speech, because Brother Young already gave half my speech already. So I'll put that back here. My sister in a poem, she gave the rest of it. So there's not very much left for me to say and do. But indeed, I give honor to the Grand Worshipful Master, the Creator of this hall, and the Prince Hall Masons, the Honorable Prince Hall himself. Because everything that I would have said, the brother already said about him. He just wasn't a brother who wanted to put together a secret organization. He was a brother who wanted to take the secrets that had been hidden away from us and bring it to the light of day to those who did not know who they were. You know, and again, please forgive me, because I'm going to kind of go all over, and they didn't give me a time limit, so I hope you don't have no place to go. But you know, when we look at the audacity of someone to say to him, you can't be a part of this order. You can't have this charter. You're not worthy of being a grand master. Well, he already knew that he was a master and a grand master, because he comes from the grand masters. You know, we seek other folks' letters when we have the letters of our own. What Greek letter? Again, I don't want to disturb nobody, but you know, the Greeks were babies in the history and culture. They found themselves going to your footsteps in your history to learn about the knowledge and the wisdom and to get the key. Herodotus, so-called father of history, finds himself in Kemet, that they call Egypt, looking for the history. Plato and Socrates. It wasn't Greek philosophy that Socrates was made to drink the hemlock, to poison himself, because he was what? Corrupting the minds of the youth with a foreign philosophy. If it was Greek philosophy, how could it be foreign philosophy? It wasn't Greek philosophy. It was your philosophy. And the first civilization at the foothill of the mountain of the moon, and Mount Kilimanjaro, along the Nile Valley, running up towards Kush, and Kemet and Punt is where civilization first came about. They acknowledge that now. They got DNA now. And they say all DNA can be traced back to the womb of a single black woman. Watch out now, sisters. Because if you know if it can be traced back to the womb of a single black woman, there's a black man somewhere there, they just haven't dug him up yet. He's there. Zinzanthropus boise, over 1,000,005 years old. But there's a brother older than that. But the National Geographic said it now, so it must be true, that all DNA leads back to Africa. So you are the original man and woman of the universe and of the world. Know thyself. I believe that was over the temple somewhere. It said, man, know thyself. I don't want to let the secrets out now. But since we are in our community, we're in the valley of the dead, somebody need to tell the dead who they are. Somebody need to wake up the dry bones. We can no longer just be amongst ourselves with the knowledge that we have. And Prince Hall wasn't just among himself. He took it to the halls of power. My brother said he petitioned this one, he petitioned that one, and he said, well, since you won't give us our freedom, then show us the door. Let us go back home where we belong and where we came from. And then the Honorable Marcus Garvey came along a little later. He was peeping into history, and he saw where the brother had petitioned, and he saw Deuce Muhammad and others, and he saw where and what Africa was all about and who we were, and he said, up, you mighty race, and accomplish what you will. Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. Not just go back, but take it back. And we got to talk about why that's important today. I've gotten ahead of myself. You know, the spirit is high, and Brother Steve always had the spirit. I bring him with me because he brings the African Holy Ghost with him, and it don't take much. He come with the spirit, and he's always in the spirit. But first I want to say, in my historical presentation, our libations. And people always ask me, they say, you got that written? And normally I do not have it written. I come straight from the heart and mind. But because so many folks have asked me to write it, I've attempted to write it. And then when I say it and do it, I attempt to put more with it. But let me just say libations for those who are no longer here. I say libations for those who gave their everything so that we may have something. I say libations for those whose shoulders we stand on. We thank you for all that you were and all that you are. We say libations for the great ones in our families, in our communities, and in our nation. We say libations for the great African ancestors of our past. We say libations for the original man and woman, the builders of the first civilization. We say libations to Big Mama, Big Daddy, Muddy, and Papa. We say libations to all of those who made up the family tree. We say libations for the keepers of our history and those who unlock the secrets of our mysteries. We say libations to Hatshepsut, the queen who ruled as king. Watch out now, y'all know something about that? Because back in the day, they didn't have a term for queen. So the sister said, that's all right. I'll rule as king, but know that I am too a queen. Hatshepsut, and she built monuments and temples to marvel the eye that's still lasting even to this day. The builders of the great temples and monuments in Kemet. We say libations to Imhotep, the world's first multi-genius and real father of medicine. Hippocrates, I know that in the Hippocratic Oath, and they call it the Hippocratic Oath for a reason. They say that he is the father of medicine, but we find him in the oath giving praise to the god Escalithus, which is the Greek name for who? Imhotep. Imhotep, who built the first stone step pyramid in 2300 BC. Imhotep, who said, "Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die." He was not just a man of medicine, but also a man of science, and he was a priest as well. Back then, you had to be all of them. We pour libations to Makeda, the queen of Sheba, who said that the love of wisdom is greater than all treasures of the world. I know you can appreciate that in this hall. The love of wisdom is greater than all the treasures of the world. This is the queen who went to Jerusalem to see a brother who she had heard about. And they talked about how wise this brother was and how great he was. And this sister wanted to check him out. You know how sisters do, they want to check a brother out sometime. And she wanted to check this brother out, and he heard about her, and he wanted to check her out too. So she got together a few trinkets, some gold, some diamonds, some silver, some elephants, and she went about her business to go visit this brother. And so he heard about her. He built a glass bridge for her to walk across over to where he was. Now, one of the reasons they say he built the bridge and made it of glass because he had heard a story about her leg, and he and nobody could tell the story, and they didn't know. So he wanted to see if, in fact, what he had heard about her leg was true. So he made the bridge of glass over the water so that it would reflect upward. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But when the brother saw the sister, the story goes, he was so stunned with her beauty, he forgot to look down and therefore missed the secret of the mystery that he was looking for in the first place. But he at least met the sister, and out of that union came a young man named Menelik. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And out of that came the great Haile Selassie, the emperor of Ethiopia. Direct line from that brother, in case you didn't know his name, was Solomon. Let me move on. We say libations to Bilal, the African, the first convert and high priest of Islam. The Honorable Muhammad ibn Abdullah, the founder of Islam, could not read and could not write. So he didn't write the Quran. I don't hope my Muslim brothers get mad with me, but they know the secret. Bilal, the African, was the first convert, and the Quran was said to him, and he wrote the Quran. He also was the caller to prayer. And Muhammad also comes from Africans because his mother was an African. So all religions that we know of come from you. I don't care if you bring me Islam, it comes from you. You bring me Christendom, which is what it was called, it comes from you. You bring me Judaism, real Judaism, Hebrewism, it comes from you. All the major religions of the beginning come out of the Garden of Eden, which is from your birthplace in Africa. We pour libations to Hannibal, the great general of Carthage, who they were looking for in the valley. They said, "Where is he?" he was coming over the mountains with elephants. With elephants. And he stayed in Spain and Italy for quite some time, and that's why our Italian brothers kind of favor some of us in this room, because of Hannibal and his folks. We pour libations to Akhenaten, the world's first prince of peace. It was Akhenaten who said there is but one God, who united both Ra and Amen. So he gave you Amen-Ra. Ra was the sun, not that they thought that the sun was God, so they clarified it with Amen, which means hidden, or that which is hidden behind the sun.